use various utilities to convert various types of data, keystrokes, MIDI, and audio signals into different types of data to record, synthesize, and manipulate audio and I'm using Windows because I was talking to Rob earlier. It just so happens that a lot of users of Windows are hacking away in their bedrooms and coming up with these little utilities. I found that Mac is sort of lacking in such a huge user base of people who know like how to program in Mac and come up with these little things. I'm sure if I search or got into it myself, but sort of the whole point of this is that you can look on the internet. A lot of people have these for free or extremely cheap, and so you can just grab this, grab that, plug them together, and start making music very quickly. All right, so we're going to use various input devices, a QWERTY keyboard, a video game joystick, and audio signals to generate the data, which we're then going to play around with and route different ways. The data we generate, we're going to run it through a couple simple utilities designed to really do just one thing. It takes one thing, turns it into something else. And so we're going to chain a couple together, we're going to point them at different things, and the end result of that is we're going to come up with a fairly dynamic system. All right, so these utilities are, in case you want to go back later and try and set up a similar thing, a scripting utility called AutoHotkey. It intercepts keystrokes that you send from the keyboard and converts that into a series of keystrokes or mouse actions. You'll see how this gets used later, but it's nice that you can turn a single action into a series of actions. Then we have a utility called joy2key, translates joystick action to keystrokes or mouse actions. There's another utility out there that will convert joystick action into MIDI data, but I found it to be really unworkable and I couldn't get it to do what I wanted to do, so this is what we're using. Then we have audio to MIDI, translates audio to MIDI. You can play with the sensitivity settings, you can get it to track differently, pick up on different harmonics. This one actually costs money, I think it's like $20 for a license, and I would say it's well worth it. The latency is really short, using a special hidden utility called MIDI yoke, which has no interface that I could take a screenshot of. You can route MIDI between applications on your computer. Sometimes not all of them can listen to each other. Some of them have like rewire slaving or something like that, and so you can get them sort of talking to each other in a way. But there's a really easy way to port MIDI from one program to another. All right, so let's begin.
Go back.
All right, so first, we're going to use a QWERTY keyboard as a foot controller to trigger events within Ableton Live, specifically audio recording or playback events. We're going to do this because it leaves your hands free to do other things like play an instrument. Why are we using QWERTY keyboards? They are cheap and or free. The one I got was $2 at a secondhand store. If you want to buy one new in a box, they're like $10 and it comes with a nifty USB plug on the end so you can plug it straight in. And does it work well? Yes, it does. This cheap one that I bought for $2, I've been stomping all over this and it hasn't broken and it does exactly what I want it to do. So I think it's a pretty good solution. Step one, we're going to remove enough keys so that you can step on the keys one at a time without hitting other ones. So you can see there's a bunch of empty gaps with just one key surrounded by like an empty island. So my foot is exactly about this big enough to put on it. At one point I glued little things on it to make it bigger, but all those things fell off. And I found that I don't really need them. You can step straight on the keys, in my opinion.